Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. This morning we'll be in Numbers chapter 26, verse 52, through chapter 28, verse 15. Then the Lord spoke to Moses. To these the land must be divided as an inheritance according to the number of the names. To a larger group you will give a larger inheritance, and to a smaller group you will give a smaller inheritance. To each one its inheritance must be given according to the number of people in it. The land must be divided by lot, and they will inherit in accordance with the names of their ancestral tribes. Their inheritance must be apportioned by lot among the larger and smaller groups. And these are the Levites who were numbered according to their families. From Gershon, the family of the Gershonites. Of Kohath, the family of the Kohathites. From Merari, the family of the Merarites. These are the families of the Levites. The family of the Libnites, the family of the Hebronites, the family of the Malites, the family of the Mushites, the family of the Korahites. Kohath became the father of Amram. Now the name of Amram's wife was Jochebed, daughter of Levi, who was born to Levi in Egypt. And to Amram she bore Aaron, Moses, and Miriam their sister. And to Aaron were born Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died when they offered strange fire before the Lord. Those of them who were numbered were 23,000, all males from a month old and upward, for they were not numbered among the Israelites. No inheritance was given to them among the Israelites. These are those who were numbered by Moses and Eleazar the priest, who numbered the Israelites in the plains of Moab, along the Jordan River opposite Jericho. But there was not a man among those who had been numbered by Moses and Aaron the priest when they numbered the Israelites in the wilderness of Sinai. For the Lord had said of them, "They will surely die in the wilderness," and there was not left a single man of them, except Caleb son of Jephunneh and Joshua son of Nun. Then the daughters of Zelophehad, son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, of the families of the Manassites, the son Joseph came forward. Now these are the names of his daughters: Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. And they stood before Moses and Eleazar the priest and the leaders of the whole assembly at the entrance to the tent of meeting, and said, "Our father died in the wilderness, although he was not part of the company of those that gathered themselves together against the Lord in the company of Korah. But he died for his own sin, and he had no sons. Why should the name of our father be lost from among his family because he had no son? Give us a possession among the relatives of our father." So Moses brought their case before the Lord. The Lord said to Moses, "The daughters of Zelophehad have a valid claim. You must indeed give them possession of an inheritance among their father's relatives, and you must transfer the inheritance of their father to them. And you must tell the Israelites, if a man dies and has no son, then you must transfer his inheritance to his daughter, and if he has no daughter, then you are to give his inheritance to his brothers. And if he has no brothers, then you are to give his inheritance to his father's brothers. And if his father has no brothers, then you are to give his inheritance to his relative nearest to him from his family, and he will possess it. This will be for the Israelites a legal requirement, as the Lord commanded Moses." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Go up this mountain of the Abarim range, and see the land I have given to the Israelites. When you have seen it, you will be gathered to your ancestors, as Aaron your brother was gathered to his ancestors. For in the wilderness of Zin, when the community rebelled against me, you rebelled against my command to show me as holy before their eyes over the water of Meribah and Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin." Then Moses spoke to the Lord, "Let the Lord, the God of the spirits of all humankind, appoint a man over the community, who will go out before them, and who will come in before them, and who will lead them out, and who will bring them in, so that the community of the Lord may not be like sheep that have no shepherd." The Lord replied to Moses, "Take Joshua son of Nun, a man in whom is such a spirit, and lay your hand on him. Set him before Eleazar the priest, and before the whole community, and commission him publicly. Then you must delegate some of your authority to him, so that the whole community of the Israelites will be obedient. And he will stand before Eleazar the priest, who will seek counsel for him before the Lord, by the decision of the Urim. At his command they will go out, and at his command they will come in, he and all the Israelites with him, the whole community." So Moses did as the Lord commanded him. He took Joshua and set him before Eleazar the priest, and before the whole community. He laid his hands on him and commissioned him, just as the Lord commanded, by the authority of Moses. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Command the Israelites with regard to my offering, be sure to offer my food for my offering made by fire, as a pleasing aroma to me at its appointed time. You will say to them, this is the offering made by fire which you must offer to the Lord, 2 unblemished lambs 1 year old, each day for a continual burnt offering. The first lamb you must offer in the morning, and the second lamb you must offer in the late afternoon, with 1/10 of an ephah of finely ground flour, as a grain offering mixed with 1/4 of a hin of pressed olive oil. It is a continual burnt offering that was instituted on Mount Sinai as a pleasing aroma, an offering made by fire to the Lord. And its drink offering must be 1/4 of a hin for each lamb. You must pour out the strong drink as a drink offering to the Lord in the holy place. And the second lamb you must offer in the late afternoon, just as you offered the grain offering and drink offering in the morning. You must offer it as an offering made by fire, as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. On the Sabbath day you must offer 2 unblemished lambs, 1 year old, and 2/10 of an ephah of finely ground flour as a grain offering mixed with olive oil, along with its drink offering. This is the burnt offering for every Sabbath, besides the continual burnt offering and its drink offering. On the first day of each month you must offer as a burnt offering to the Lord 2 young bulls, 1 ram, and 7 unblemished lambs 1 year old, with 3/10 of an ephah of finely ground flour mixed with olive oil as a grain offering for each bull, and 2/10 of an ephah of finely ground flour mixed with olive oil as a grain offering for the ram, and 1/10 of an ephah of finely ground flour mixed with olive oil as a grain offering for each lamb, as a burnt offering for a pleasing aroma, an offering made by fire to the Lord. For their drink offerings, include 1/2 a hin of wine with each bull, 1/3 of a hin for the ram, and 1/4 of a hin for each lamb. This is the burnt offering for each month throughout the months of the year. And 1 male goat must be offered to the Lord as a purification offering, in addition to the continual burnt offering and its drink offering. Okay. So first you have a bit of a genealogy concerning the descendants of Levi here. A numbering of those descendants has 23,000. A reminder that none in the wilderness were spared, essentially, but Caleb and Joshua. The daughters of Zelophehad here, who had a legal claim to bring before Moses, that is, that their father died without having any sons. And normally the case was that the firstborn son would have the inheritance, that the property would go in his name, essentially. And in that way you would have kind of the boundaries established for each tribe maintained from generation to generation. That is, you wouldn't have drift of land being subsumed by one tribe. But in the case of the daughters of Zelophehad, their father had no son, so they asked for a inheritance. They asked for the inheritance to be given to them, and it was. Then Moses was told that he wouldn't get to go into the promised land, but that he would be able to go up to see it. And Moses asks for a successor, and Joshua, son of Nun, is named. And then you have the laws for the offerings being given as well. Okay, let me see here. The Levites were not numbered in either the first or second census because the men of their tribe were not to go to war, because there was no inheritance given to them among the children of Israel. As well, they were to receive no inheritance of land as the other tribes. Their inheritance was greater than property, the Lord himself. But among these was not a man of those who were numbered by Moses and Aaron. None of those counted in the first census were counted in the second. That was the old generation, the generation of unbelief who perished in the wilderness. They obviously had no inheritance in the promised land, except of Caleb and Joshua. The daughters of Zelophehad. In general, this system was not completely unfair to women. A woman received a dowry from her father as a wedding present. Typically, the father required his potential son-in-law provide much, if not all, of the dowry. A dowry might consist of clothes, jewelry, money, furniture, or more, and it was thought that the dowry could help provide for the woman if her husband left her or unexpectedly died. And Moses did what he should when he was faced with a new situation, that is, he sought God. Which, an interesting bit about this chapter in particular is that it essentially refutes this idea of a oral Torah. That is, when Moses went up on the mountain, that he received both the written law and the oral Torah. And so everything that's been passed down, essentially, was received on that mountain, is my understanding of it. Perhaps that's wrong. A channel that does really well at explaining it is called Radar Apologetics, if you're further interested in that. But yeah, because Moses had to go back to ask the Lord, it reveals that the law wasn't given in completeness at Mount Sinai, essentially. The daughters of Zelophehad speak what is right. God seemed pleased that the daughters of Zelophehad brought this issue before Moses. God declared that if a father had no sons, the inheritance then could go to the daughters. Allowing daughters to inherit when there were no sons in the family created another problem, though. When they married, they would take the family land with them, thus destroying the father's estate. To deal with this, chapter 36 brings in additional rules governing the marriage of heiresses. Interesting. And it shall be to the children of Israel a statute of judgment. The remarkable thing about these laws is that they were all made in anticipation, in faith, of coming into the inheritance of land in Canaan. This was a real issue at this time, for the daughters of Zelophehad shows that they were real women of faith, concerned about dividing up what they did not yet have in their hands, but knew they would possess by faith. You also shall be gathered to your people. Yeah, just a little bit more on that, I guess, was that not only were they not there yet, there was also still a people living in that land who were hostile to them. So this assumes not only that they'll get to the place where they're going, but that they'll also be able to seize the land from the Canaanites. Moses was first told he would die before coming to the promised land in Numbers 20. It was still many months until Moses would climb to the top of the mountain, able to see the promised land, but not able to enter it and die there. Yet God told him of it here, so as to prepare his heart for the right time. After hearing of his coming fate, Moses does not try to talk God out of it or complain. His only concern seems to be for the congregation, for the people, not for himself. That the congregation of the Lord may not be like sheep without a shepherd. Sheep without a shepherd are in constant danger. They face slim provisions of food and water, and they are never led to where they should be. God still wants his sheep to have a shepherd. In the ultimate sense, this is fulfilled by Jesus Christ, who is the good shepherd, as was prophesied in the Old Testament, in Micah 5:2-4, and revealed in the New Testament. I am the good shepherd gives his life for the sheep. The job of shepherds is simple, to feed and to lead them out and to bring them in, that is, to give guidance and direction for the sheep to follow. Jesus was also moved with compassion when he saw the people as sheep without a shepherd. Moses is showing the nature of Jesus by his concern. Yeah. Take Joshua the son of Nun with you, a man in whom is the Spirit, and lay your hand upon him. Up to this point, Joshua was mostly known by his servant-like association with Moses. That time as Moses' humble servant prepared him to take the leadership he was now called to. This public presentation and laying on of hands on Joshua was important. It let the whole nation know that Joshua was now the leader, and the nation should expect to follow him. Yeah. Day by day, a regular burnt offering. Israel was commanded to bring a male lamb to the Lord every morning and every evening. Each day began and ended with the statement of the need for atonement by sacrifice, an expression of devotion to the Lord. You shall offer in the morning, and you shall offer in the evening. This reminds us that it is appropriate to begin and end our day with a statement of trust in God's atonement and expression of our devotion to Him. We should be like the psalmist and seek the Lord in the morning. My voice you shall hear in the morning, O Lord. In the morning I will direct it to you, and I will look up. Psalm 5:3. But to you I have cried out, O Lord, and in the morning my prayer comes before you. In Psalm 88:13. We should be like the psalmist and seek the Lord in the evening. When I remember you on my bed, I meditate on you in the night watches. Psalm 63:6. Let my prayer be set before you as incense, the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. In Psalm 141:2. We should be like the psalmist and seek the Lord all the time. Evening and morning and at noon I will pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. From Psalm 55:17. And on the Sabbath day, 2 lambs. Every Sabbath day, an additional lamb was sacrificed every morning and every evening. At the beginning of your months, you shall present a burnt offering to the Lord. 1 Samuel 20:5-6 gives an example of how this offering might become part of a monthly feast for the leaders of the nation. This is the burnt offering for each month throughout the months of the year. Later in Israel's history, the new moon festivals may have become opportunities for excess, for licentious behavior. In the prophets, there are times when God says to his erring people, I hate your new moons. That is, they are trouble to me, I am weary of bearing them. We can come to the same place today where God is tired of us going to church. Yeah. When we come before the Lord, we need to come before him with the right attitude and in the right spirit, and not use it as an opportunity for pleasure, but more in thanksgiving to God. Anywho, thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you have a great day. Bye.